Show you my garage shop, which is kind of my shop in small spaces. So right now it's kind of set up in my actual shop is this area over here, which I can still get at to do plumbing and all those kind of things and get at tools specifically, but you can see that's pretty cramped. And then as we come back out here, I'll take the car out and I'll show you how I set my shop up. And this is the area up here that will contain all of my equipment. And I'll speed it up so that you don't have to watch the whole thing, but you can kind of see some of the things are hidden there. And then over here, I have a few things that are back underneath here. And there's some charging stations and so on back behind that. So anyway, I'll get started on bringing the shop out. Alright, I'm going to put my finishing table up, and that'll help so I've got places to set things as I get going here. Now this is a table that I have a video on that I made earlier that has it's put together with pocket holes, no glue, so that later I can I was going to have you come up there. So later I can replace parts as they need to be replaced. These are where I store some of the boards that I use for shelves. So then I'll flip this down and then you can take a look inside. And I've got marks on here that tell me where these boards go, and then there's marks on the end that give me a little hand on placing them. And so I do that. There's one here. This one over here. Now a big share of this is made out of scrap wood. Whoops. So I kind of glued these pieces on here after I had been using this for about a year. This is about somewhere between 2 and 3 years old now. This is the one I use if I have some long pieces that I want to get kind of out of the way. I can slide them through the ends and do that. I got this aluminum at the big box store, Home Depot, I think. And but there's other ways to do this at the time. And I added this board I'm putting in right now, so I had a little more counter space. And originally I had a shop vac back under there, and that helped me hide the vacuum, keep it out of the way while I was using it. I use this just to kind of keep a little pressure on the middle part, and this holds a lot of weight. So anyway, that's my finishing table. Okay, I'm done. Boy, this didn't work out too well. Normally this just goes really well, but when you're trying to be recorded, and also it's very hot out, and probably shouldn't have done it now. But anyway, I'm loading up my safety equipment for the table saw right now. I'm moving a few tools kind of out of the way, get the carpets up because they get sawdust all over them. And as we go, I kind of unhook my straps that hold everything in place. And we get started with a little cabinet thing that I bought at Costco that it works really well for holding some of my screw boxes and so on. That fan has a filter on it that I use to filter out some of the air. And that goes behind my saws. That holds my outfeed table up. And this is an old table bought many, many years ago. And I built this top. It fits in there, and there's kind of a almost like a double French cleat. And as I screw it in, it just sucks the table in. And I've got a vise on it. Usually I don't do that then. I do it after I move some of these other things around, but I kind of messed up here. Getting out the table saw. This table saw is so easy to move around. It's amazing. That on the end, that box is a dust box for the router that I built into that. I'm using a router table now. So here's the outfeed table. I ended up adding that bottom part and made a drawer on it, and I've got all the zero plays. And of course, I don't have the table in the right spot, so I'm fumbling with that. Um, but once I do get it on there, it's like, oh my gosh. And but normally it slides in there very easy, and I just have two things underneath that tighten in and go from there. So all these things, I move them into place, and then as I start building something, everything gets tweaked, maybe anywhere from a couple to 5 or 6 inches different than what they are now. That's the router table that I have now, and I just made a top that fits into the miter slot that goes on it so I can use it, and I'll move that sander pretty soon. And I made that board because it's a little easier to put my small parts boxes on there. Move out the planer, and of course I didn't leave myself enough room, but normally I do. And I move that planer back over there when I use it, but for now this is where it goes. And as I move clamps over from my regular clamping area, from where the clamps are stored, I just hang them right here and keep reusing them, and periodically I'll move them all back where they belong and start all over again. But it works out really well right there. It's right behind my finishing table. Move out my bandsaw, and it's got the manifold for all my dust collection. So I can hook it up to the table saw, the bandsaw, and um, the other one that's just sticking out there is for the router table. And now I'm connecting that up, and then I connect the one that goes to the table saw, and so it's kind of ready to go. And get out my table that has my drill press on it, and move that in place.
so that I can get out my miter saw. And I absolutely love this drill press. It's a woodworker's dream because it moves in and out all different directions, and it's just fantastic. Um, Taking the miter saw out, and I made a box that goes over the miter saw, and you'll see I fumble with it because what I didn't realize was while I was trying to put it on, it was the the other table was holding it from screwing in, but normally it's pretty easy. The box I built for it, that thing creates so much dust. So I created this box that I hooked the 4-inch line up to, and it keeps the dust down much better. Um, Sometimes I don't take it out because I do a lot of the mitering too, just on the table saw. But it's, you got the dado in or something, and this is very handy to go over and cut something because you forgot to cut it when you put the dado in. But that's what that box is right there. And part of it's only 1/4 inch, so it's not very heavy. And it's just got a big dust collection thing out of the bottom of it. And as you can see, I am having that trouble with it. And also, I forgot that I have a table that fits on there, or, an end area for the mitering, and I forgot to put that on, but I'll put it on later on another video. I'll show how quick and easy that is to put on. And pretty much.
Yeah, you might get over on my left because my back will probably be to you most of the time. And just stay there. Okay.